We're so pleased at Mind Plus Neurology to have Katie Moran here to tell us more about Miles for Migraine and the upcoming 5K that's coming to Milwaukee. But I know Miles for Migraine is a whole lot more than just a 5K. So we're just excited and pleased to have you. Thank you for joining us, Katie.
Thanks so much for having me. And we've really enjoyed getting to know Mind Plus and working with you the last 2 years, really. So thanks so much for having me. So I will just jump in and talk a little bit about how Miles for Migraine really got started. Back in really 2007, a woman, her name is Eileen Jones, went to Washington, D.C. And it was the first time that she was with a whole group of people. Most of them were doctors and nurses. And it's called something Headache on the Hill. And so they went down to DC and they wanted to get more money for migraine research. And we got migraine research gets about a half to 1% of the total budget to go to any type of research for medical anything. And so they were told that they were not giving any more money towards migraine research. They really didn't understand migraine. And Eileen was like, they didn't really care to understand much more. They thought migraine was a headache. And that's kind of how this group felt when they left. So what they were told by Congress that they needed to build their own public support in their own hometowns and cities, and then they needed to come back and fight for more money. So Eileen Jones is from San Francisco. So on her plane ride back to San Francisco from Washington, D.C., she said, "What can I do? I need to do something. This is crazy." She went there. She was a nurse. She had migraine, but also her daughter had migraine. So that was one of the reasons she went, was to fight for herself and her daughter. So on her way back to San Francisco, she said, "I am going to put together a run." And so in 2008, she did just that. In San Francisco, at Golden Gate Park, she put together the very first 5K, 10K, and 2-mile walk and called it Miles for Migraine. And that's when Miles for Migraine started. And so one person did it, one woman. So don't think you cannot do something. If you have it in your mind to do something, do it. You can do it. So this woman started Miles for Migraine on her own and fought for us. So from this, it blossomed into 15 years later. Miles for Migraine has 24 run walks in different cities across the country every single year. So Miles for Migraine, our vision and mission, we just worked on it this year and changed it a little bit. Our vision first is to eliminate the headache specialist shortage for all, meaning all of us, women, children, men, young adults living with migraine, all races, all ethnicities. That is that last word, all. That is our vision at Miles for Migraine. Our mission is to create a supportive community, hold patient, hold events, our runs and walks, bring us together. They are so much fun. If you've never been to an event, please join us at our event coming up in August. And the biggest thing that we do is we raise funds for our fellowship programs. There is such a shortage in headache and migraine specialists that all of the money that is raised stays right in your city. So that is our big thing. We want to alleviate the doctor shortage. Next slide. So this is some fun. These are some pictures of people maybe you will know that attended the Milwaukee event last year. And even you have your little, who is that joined, Tracy, your little
Oh,
guy?
Yeah, our mascot for the Bucks.
Yes, the mascot joined, and I believe he is on board for coming this year, if I'm correct.
Oh yeah, I think so. Either that or it was the running sausages from the Milwaukee
Oh,
Brewers.
yes, that is it. The running sausages. Yes, they are coming this year. So that should be a ton of fun. So there's just some pictures of people from last year. Next slide. And so last year, there were a total of 238 participants. Milwaukee raised over $5,200. There were 13 teams and $2,700, just over, was granted to the Medical College of Wisconsin Headache Fellowship Program. So, having said all of this, again, 238 of you came and participated. It's a ton of fun to come to the event. There were 238 of you alike. However, you bring family, friends. One thing that is so awesome about this year is our events are now free. There's no charge to come to the event. So bring family and friends. When you come, when you sign up, make a team. Come up with fun, crazy name and bring a team. When you bring your team, fundraise. You still have time for your event. You are a month away, just short of a month, I think, right? Yeah, just shy of a month, maybe a day of a month. Oh, or right now, I think a month away. So you have time to fundraise. What is awesome is when you sign up to join the event, you will get a great. Oops, there's my slide. My screen is going blank. You will get once you sign up. Miles for Migraine sends you information about your sign up. You have a page you can share on social media if you're on social media, but it's really, really simple to fundraise too if you want to fundraise. And what is awesome, I think I already said it, the money stays right in Milwaukee and goes directly to the Medical College of Wisconsin. Helps to build fellows in your own city. So you guys are lucky. You have a great medical organization in your city that helps with your headache, migraine disease. There are so many cities out there where they don't even have headache specialists. They have to go to a different state. They have to drive 8 hours, but you guys are special. You have one. The money raised will go to get you even more. So that is fun and exciting. You can ask 10 people to give you $10 each. It doesn't have to be a huge ask. But anyway, we set you up for uh, so it's easy to raise money. So next slide. So the one thing that is really, really important when we are talking about migraine and headache disease is your own personal migraine story. It's the way you advocate for our disease. While our disease is invisible and people cannot see what we're going through, and a lot of times, if you're in your disease state, a lot of times we have to push through what we're living with. This is going to be kind of a big part of what I'm talking about today. And then I'll talk about migraine because this is a big part of Miles for Migraine. This is a big part of your migraine and headache story, what you go through. So it might be scary to share your own story, but it's really, really important in making headway in the community of migraine. When I first started to tell my own story, I was really, really intimidated. I didn't know what to say. So please give yourself grace when you're trying to learn how to talk about your own migraine story. I was taught there are two different types of migraine story. You have an elevator story and you have another story where you can tell to people when they have time to sit down and talk to you. So our elevator story is short, sweet, to the point. Think about it as you're in an elevator. You have 2 minutes to tell someone about your migraine story and what you live with. The other, again, is you have time to sit down and talk to someone and tell them your migraine story. So I am going to tell you my migraine story through some of these photos here. So the bottom left photo is myself with my two kids. I do not have a typical migraine story. So the picture of myself with my kids was right before I was diagnosed with a really rare cancer. My cancer was in my sinuses and my right eye orbit. That was in 2006. I was given 2 to 3 years to live. I was divorced, and however, I had just gotten engaged 3 weeks prior. So this poor guy just asked me to marry him with my two young kids. And 3 weeks later, we went and I got an MRI, and they found this huge mass right here. And I said, take your ring, just let's see what happens. You don't need this. And he's like, no, 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 I'm not going anywhere. My parents had just retired, luckily, because my kids wanted to be with me. So they moved in with me here um, for about 9 months because they needed to drive me back and forth. I live in Delaware. They needed to drive me back and forth to Thomas Jefferson Hospital, where they did my surgery, and Will's eye, who did my surgery as well. So I was supposed to wake up with no right eye. Um, and I had to tell my kids what was going on. So I was in the hospital for about 7 days, for about a week, while they were trying to figure out this rare cancer, what was going on. They gave me 2 days to come home, talk to my kids about what was going on. I did not use the word cancer, but I took them out to dinner because I didn't want to cry and break down to tell them what was going on. And I told them that most likely they were going to have a pirate for a mom. I was trying to make it fun. They were young. I had a little boy. I thought, like, by saying pirate, and I said we can make fun eye patches, yada yada yada. They didn't really think it was fun or funny, but I tried. And anyway, long story short, I beat it. I beat the cancer. I have my eye. While I don't like the way my eye really looks, and I usually have my hair kind of drooped over that eye, um, I beat it. I fought the hardest I ever fought in my life. Um, I got married, you can see. He stuck with me. He stuck by my side. You can see from these photos, I was very, very thin. I was about 105 pounds from all the radiation, the chemo. I probably, it was bad, but I fought. We got married. We got married a year later on my 40th birthday. So you can see my son down in the right picture. He's like, ha ha ha, you're in trouble, buddy. But I love that picture. And it was probably the best day, well, third best day of my life, because my kids were my first two best days of my life. Anyway, so after that, now we're going to go into my migraine story. I tried to make that part short. But after that, I kept complaining that I had headaches. My doctors kept saying it's from your trauma. They will go away. It's from your trauma. Every appointment I had, I kept saying I had a headache 24/7. It won't go away. My headaches are a 9-10. This went on for 2 years, with all my oncologist visits, with all my visits. I was at Thomas Jefferson. Had a awesome headache center right there. But they kept saying I was healing. It's going to go away. It's just from all the trauma. Finally, they sent me to the headache center. And once I went through all the everything you have to go through to go to a headache center, they have to, make sure you're not depressed, you're not this. You go through all these questionnaires, everything. I was finally diagnosed with migraine. They had to detox me from all my cancer drugs, which was not fun, and put me on my migraine drugs. I started Botox. In 2 months, I went from my headache migraine 9-10 to a 5. I was like, said to my doctor, you saved my life. My life changed. I finally had a life. I have chronic daily migraine. I couldn't return to work, which after my cancer, I couldn't wait to return to work. I was climbing the ladder in the company that I worked for. I couldn't wait to go back to work. I loved working, but I couldn't go back because of my headache. And after I was diagnosed with migraine, I still couldn't go back. I have chronic daily migraine. So for the last 17 years, chronic daily migraine. Even though I was diagnosed, I was still depressed. Even when got down to my 10, my 5, I couldn't go back to work. I was depressed. I was lonely. A lot of times I still had to be in bed. I was on the right medication. It depends. I mean, even though I was at my 5, my baseline, I hit 9, 10. The lowest I get down to is a 4. But now I'm going to get into Miles for Migraine. I went to my very first Miles for Migraine walk 5.5 years ago, almost 6 years ago. My life changed. I talked to you about the Milwaukee Run Walk. So I went to my first one in Philadelphia. My life seriously changed. I am telling you the honest truth. Our walk in Philadelphia that year, before the pandemic, had 700 people. And they were 700 people with their friends and their family. So say 500 people had migraine, just like me. I wasn't alone anymore. I just looked around and I was like, these people have migraine? It was just me and my headache specialist, honestly, that I told my migraine story, but I didn't really know how to do it. And like I said, I'm telling my story now. I didn't know how to do it then. My neighbors, my people, they looked at me like, you're a normal person. Look at me now. This is how I am with my migraine. Do I look like I have a migraine? No. I have one right now. So neighbors look at me walking my dog. They don't know I have a migraine. How do I tell them? So I went to this run walk. I met all these people like me, and it was life changing. That day, I met my tribe of people, 5 people. I walked away with phone numbers. We exchanged, and still today, they are my 5 closest people, friends. 3 of them are migraine. Sorry, my migraine brain. Sometimes, with probably like you, I grasp for words. They are support group facilitators with me at Miles for Migraine. So they went through the training with me. But they're some of my closest friends in this migraine world in Miles for Migraine. So it was fantastic. So again, I can't say enough about our events because you're together. You're in a community together. You can talk to people that understand you, that get you. And so after this event, the very next day, I called the executive director at Miles for Migraine, Shirley Kessel now, and Shirley joined Miles for Migraine about 6 years before I did, and she's the executive director. She also found Miles for Migraine because she was searching for something for herself and her daughters because they had migraine. So I called her and I said, Shirley, this was life-changing yesterday. How do I volunteer for Miles for Migraine? What can I do? I need to be involved. I need to get out of my house. I need something to do. I'm depressed. I'm lonely. But yesterday I wasn't. And she said, well, she's like, other than volunteering at our events, we don't really have many volunteers. We talked for an hour. I told her what I did when I worked. At the end of the call, she said, do you want to come work for us? And I said, work? I have migraine. I can't work. And she said, no, I mean part-time. Like we can figure out how often you can work, but do you want to work and do you want to start finding volunteers for us? You can be our volunteer director. And so, I was taken back. I was excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to actually be someone again. I'm right now, I'm just a wife that's home that cooks when I can, that cleans when I can, but I'm going to really be someone again. I'm going to have a meaning in my life. So I got off the phone with her and called my husband at work and I said, I have a job. And he was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I have a job. And he's like, what are you talking about? Where? And I said, Miles for Migraine. You remember the walk that I went to? I'm actually going to work for that organization. And so 4.5 years ago, I started working for Miles for Migraine. I work part-time. I work 12 hours a week and probably volunteer 25 hours a week for Miles for Migraine. And I started putting together our volunteer teams. And then, as I told you, about 6 months later, we decided we wanted to start support groups. So myself and 3 other people went through US Pain's support group training, and we started support groups. So I'm the director for the volunteer teams and for the support groups. So it just honestly changed my life. And so that's my migraine story in a nutshell. And I honestly challenge all of you that are listening to this later. I know we're recording this live right now, but hopefully when you listen to this, don't be afraid to tell your migraine story. Anyone that will listen to me, I tell my story. My dog, so when we have our walks, you wear purple, you'll get a purple migraine shirt, get a purple tutu, get as purpled out as you want. We have an award for the most purpled out person, and you get awards. You get awards at our runs and walks, which I'll talk about later. But you see my dog, he comes in his purple tutu. If you're allowed to bring a dog to certain events, you can, certain ones you can't. The picture in the center was my most recent. There's my family, there's my support system. My niece, who is in there, she just graduated from high school, and we just had an awesome party for her. And she's going to college in Chicago. So I just wanted to share my story. So thank you for listening. So, okay, so this is a lot of information here, but I'm going to I have a slide for each one. So Miles for Migraine is known for our runs and walks. That is how we started. And as I said, we have 24 cities that we do runs and walks in. And we also have one in Phoenix when all the groups go for a meeting every year. So we do a run and walk there really, really early in the morning. So I guess we really have 25. But and all the money stay right in every city that we have, which I think is just fantastic. We do have a grant that in Philadelphia, a DIHAC grant that we are really trying to attract the Black community. We really, really want to work with the Black community. As we all know, Black communities are underserved. And so we have been the last 2 years working with our DIHAC group to reach out to them. And we have a brunch every year after the Philadelphia event. Philadelphia is our largest, and hopefully this year, we hope to get back up to 700 or more in our Philadelphia city. That was our first largest race city after San Francisco. So we hope to get back there. But we have education events. They're all on Zoom. They're all free. And we have 6 events this year. We have mindfulness events every other Thursday. We have support groups. We have social series. Again, I'm going to go through them on slides. We have Act Now events, which are fantastic. I see someone on here. I believe she's doing this starting in August. We have planning committees and we have volunteer teams. So if you want to go to the next slide, I think it starts with our run walks. So our run walks, what we hope to build in our when we have our run walks is awareness. So as I said, your Milwaukee event had over 200 people. So when we're at our site, they're usually at parks. And so when you're there in a huge group in purple, you have other people that share the park with you. It stops people in their tracks and they say, excuse me, they say, oh, what's going on here? So they'll see Miles for Migraine signs. They'll see Miles for Migraine on your shirts, and they'll stop and it brings awareness to not only what you're doing, but Miles for Migraine. People might go home and Google Miles for Migraine. Hey, what are they? And you would be amazed. I'll take a step back. You will be amazed when you share your migraine story. People will say, oh, hey, I know someone that has migraine. Thanks for sharing that story. I'm going to tell my neighbor, my cousin, someone that I work with um, about Miles for Migraine, about Mind Plus Neurology, and bring them to you, because it's really important that people get treated or learn about migraine or share their disease. Um, Again, it's a ton of fun. I need to take a sip of water. I've been talking a lot. Are there any questions or anything? I don't know how many people are here, Tracy.
I
Excuse me.
I'm looking forward to it. I know that much. We're gonna be there for sure. But are people still wearing the Miles for Migraine shirt? Or are you seeing that with the free, no registration fee? It doesn't come with the shirt automatically then. So are you still seeing a lot of people wearing the Miles for Migraine shirts?
Yes. So you can purchase the shirt for this year, and or if you participated before, you can wear your shirt from last year, or you can just wear purple.
Hmm.
You can go to I know AC Moore or whatever, they have tons of shirts. You can go get a purple shirt there, and you can doctor it up and do whatever you want on it, put glitter on it, whatever you want. So it
That's
just
a great
depends
idea.
what you want. A lot of people, excuse me, with the free registration are then taking that $25 that's free and putting it towards fundraising. So we found that. But it's totally up to you, but we still will find people in purple. Um, and or say, obviously Tracy will come with her team and have her Mind Plus t-shirts on. If you come with a group or a sponsored group, you might come in your business's t-shirts. That's perfectly fine too, because if you are a sponsor and you're coming to the event, you want to bring your name to people as well. So that's fine too. Or you might have your shirt on with a purple tutu, purple leggings, purple, people have purple headbands with purple thingies sticking out of them. A purple, you'll see people so creative. So yeah, it depends with the shirt if you want to purchase it or not, but it's perfectly fine to wear last year's too.
Yeah, but that's part of the fun, right?
Part of the fun. Yes, you will see people, yeah, fun and crazy. Um, Again, it is free this year, so we've seen a lot more teams. We've seen a lot more people because they're bringing family members. Remember, kids are welcome. Double check with when you sign up. It'll say if it's dog friendly or not. If your dog is your support person, and they are welcome to come, even if it says dog. Um, Obviously, if your dog is your support, the dog is welcome to come. So I wanted to make sure that that's clear too. Runners compete. I'm telling you, some runners come just to the event to run, to bring up their time. We have awards at the end. So there are the top 3 men, the top 3 women win these awesome little Miles for Migraine awards. So you will see people really come and compete for the 5K. The walking is a ton of fun. We always say if you're there alone, we try to say if you're alone and you want to walk with a group, we ask if there are groups there that want to bring those solo walkers to meet at the side, and a solo walker can join a group if they'd like to. Some people like to walk alone, but if you're alone and you don't want to walk alone, we try to encourage groups to have a solo walker join with them. We also have our relaxed portion. If you don't want to walk or run, we still encourage you to come, because before and after, it's so awesome to talk to all those people that are there. Just come and hang out with me. I always am back because I like to hand out everybody gets a little medal at the end. So I hand them out. Come hang out with me, chat with all the sponsors there while everyone is out, and you can hand out water with me, the medals with me, but please come and relax. And as I said, the fundraising portion is fun. It stays right in your city. And I think I said fun 1,000 times. So we know it's fun. Okay. So our education. So we have 6 education days, all virtual via Zoom, all different topics. We have fantastic physicians that we in all different cities that we have present at our education days. Treatment updates seem to be an awesome topic. There are new treatments. We are so lucky. About 4.5 years ago, when I joined Miles for Migraine, there weren't a lot of new treatments. In the last 2 years, I mean, the new treatments, the medical devices that have come out, the new medications, I'm telling you, in the last 2 years have just skyrocketed. I'm sure Tracy can attest to that as well. I mean, the change has been wild and crazy. So treatment updates are a big topic at our education days. Coping strategies, methods to reduce stigma. As I said, telling your migraine story a lot of times is we don't tell it because of the stigma of migraine. They look at me, they say, "How do you have migraine? What are you talking about? You look just like me." But you know what? My migraine right now is a 5. So I get stigma all the time. But so these are great topics that we have had 128 presentations since 2015. We always have a survey after, and we ask those people that are on our education days for topics they want. So we always take that into consideration. Then we reach out to people that are going to be presenting for us and say, "Hey, can you present on this topic?" And they're like, "Yeah, I have a what am I trying to say? I have a presentation already set up to do that, and I can do that for you." So we reach out to our doctors and try to get presentations for what our viewers want to see. So they are awesome, and they're typically about an hour long. So they're really a good time frame for us as well. Next slide. Oh, so mindfulness for migraine. We started mindfulness for migraine about 2 years ago. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present and engaged in the current moment without judgment. So these are taught by professional who are trained in migraine. So we are never going to be asked to like sit on our head with our feet up in the air. All of these presenters are trained just for those that have migraine. Our series gives you tools and techniques to help manage your migraine and headache disease. And mindfulness meditation has been shown to improve pain tolerance and reduce pain perception, which may be relevant to migraine management. So we have yoga, Tai Chi, we have a writing workshop, we have, we have art therapy as well. All of these mindfulness they're fantastic. They are a ton of fun. And they can help calm the nervous system, which is already activated by our pain. So they are every other Thursday. It's free. And on the East Coast, I always say when I join these, I'm so lucky because by the time it's done, it's 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. So it's done for me at 8 o'clock at night. And I am so calm by the time it's done. I'm just ready for bed. So it's really, really good for migraine. So that's one thing we added 2 years ago. Next slide. So migraine, these are our migraine community support groups. They are virtual. They're led, as I said, by us that have migraine. They are 6 days a week, weekly. We have the slide didn't update. So we have an all men's group, we have a teen group, we have a parent support group, we have 2 different young adult groups. We have a young adult group, and then we have a young working adult support group, which both of them were added probably about 6 months ago because we have 2 people that were They just went through the support group training. They are fantastic. And we are looking to add hopefully 2 more groups in 2024, a caregiver support group and possibly a Black support group. So we are really looking forward to that. I have someone in my Monday group is a Black woman, and she wants to start an all Black support group with someone else that's in our group. So that is something we're looking forward to starting in 2024. So I have some quotes here of what participants are saying about our group. They learn from others that have migraine in 60 minutes. They can learn sometimes more than what professionals are teaching them in a year. We live it. So in the support groups, we're the ones that live with the disease. And so when we get on these groups, I lead 2 of them on Monday and Wednesday. When we get in these groups, you are talking to others that are living migraine. And so we share a lot with each other. So sometimes when you have someone that goes back to their doctor, how do I put it? Sometimes they're teaching their doctor things that their doctor might not know, because, again, we're living it. And a lot of times these people in the support groups are sometimes just seeing their primary care doctor who's dealing with every type of medical issue. Sometimes they're seeing a neurologist, which a neurologist is great, but a neurologist still is dealing with all different types of neurology, where a headache specialist is dug right into, does a lot of other training for headache too. So it's great. I'm not saying anything is better or worse, but they're learning a lot from each other. So they might be going into their neurologist and saying, hey, this new medical device came out. And the primary care specialist might say, I have never heard of that. And so then their specialist is going and researching it, and they're coming back in and saying, oh, this device might be good for you, or no, this device isn't good for you because you have implants, so you can't use that device with your implants, whatever it might be. But so these groups are great. They've learned importance of a community. They've learned how to advocate. So we teach each other how to advocate for yourself when you're out there in the community. We teach each other how to share your migraine story. Again, they learn that they're not alone. So the groups are great. I can't say enough about our support groups. So next slide. So we have our social series, which are a lot of fun. We create community. Our virtual social series is one of our volunteer teams. We have a ton of fun. We have a lot of events. We have had our Dizzy cook, Alicia Wolf, has done some cooking with us. We have game nights. We have had a holiday party. We had a tea ceremony where we actually went into a tea room in Philadelphia, and they gave us a virtual tour of a tea room. And then you could, before the event, if you wanted to, you could order tea from them. And then they showed us how to make this tea. So we do a ton of fun things, and it's really creative. So that is a lot of fun. Next, we have our Act Now. So this starts in August. I talked about that quickly because someone that is on right now, I think, is participating in August. But what this is we teach each other how to understand the stigma and operate in the headache community. And I just talked about stigma a minute ago. But who participates in this? So we are having our 4th Act Now group this coming August. And it is made up of fellows that are training and people that have migraine, like myself. And what we do is we work together and we discuss the current state of headache advocacy and policies, regulation. They kind of tell us about that, but we talk about our migraine. We talk about what it's like living with it. We talk about what it's like going to doctor's appointments. Sometimes doctors might say to us, there's nothing else we can do for you. And so we talk about how that makes us feel with these fellows, and they're great discussions between the fellows and the migraine community, which typically when you go into a doctor's office, you don't have that. It's kind of just like you're going in for your Botox, you're going in for your medication refills, you're going in because maybe you just had a visit to the ER, and so you're doing a follow-up visit. So this is really a discussion group, and it is fantastic. I participated in the first one, and it is for 9 months. So it's through their fellowship training. It's a 9-month kind of class, and it's one night a week a month. And then afterwards, these groups complete a project. One of the projects I can think of is they came up with a medical card that is given to the ERs. So when people with migraine go into an ER, the ERs in these hospitals have this card that lets them know what it's like to have migraine, and that we aren't coming in and seeking drugs, or because a lot of times we're thought of as drug seekers. Hey, yeah, you just want this. But so it's this fantastic card that ERs have. Whoever, we can get one. If you want one for your ER, you can. So when you come into the ER, they already understand migraine. You can say, or you can have the card. This is what it's like to have a migraine. I'm not. This is the best. This is the best migraine cocktail for what I have. Can you help me out? So that was one of the projects that they completed together. So, and it's knowing how to bring advocacy to a care plan. Anyway, this Act Now is awesome. It's made up of us, and again, the fellows, and anyone that has migraine can join. So if you're interested, let me know. Okay, so I have 2 more slides. So we have our planning committees, and this is actually what brought me to help do this presentation today. So at the moment, we have planning committees in 6 of our run, walk, relax cities. And as I had said previously, we have 24 run, walk cities, but there's 6 in 2023. We're hoping in 2024 that we're going to have these planning committees in all of our cities. So what these planning committees are, I kind of call them as our boots on the ground in these cities. And what they do with Miles for Migraine is Miles for Migraine has always reached out to all of our cities and tried to get more teams at our Run, Walk, Relax event, get more sponsors like Mine Plus, which we love, at our Walk Run events. We need to make these events bigger. We want to make these events like the Alzheimer's walk, like the breast cancer walk. We're growing. We're a small team. There's 6 of us that work at Miles for Migraine. So we're trying, we're growing. And so, I live in Delaware. I call people in places in Milwaukee and say, hey, would you like to be at our events? And they don't know me. So as I said, these are the boots on the ground people. So what we're doing is these planning committees are people that live in our cities where our runs and walks are, such as Tracy. Tracy lives in Milwaukee. So Tracy goes around to the people in Milwaukee that know her. And so same with her planning committee, and tries to encourage people to, hey, do you want to join our walk, and would you like to create a team and come to the event that day? Or would you like to sponsor the event and come and have a tent at the event and talk about your business? So that's what these planning committees are. There are chairs for this. There are 2 different recruitment teams, a team recruitment and a sponsor recruitment. And again, we try to grow these events. There is Miles for Migraine support. You are never left alone. I hope Tracy feels the support from myself and the other migraine people, but we are growing these events by adding these planning committees this year, and hopefully next year we'll have them at all 24 of our events. So that's what these planning committees are. And it's a volunteer team as well. So Those are our planning committees. And I have one more. We have, so all of our volunteer teams, so planning committee is at the bottom. You can see that's one of our volunteer teams, but we have 6 virtual volunteer teams. We have an editing team who they are fantastic. They help edit anything that comes through that we are going to put out there. I will give to one of our editors and ask if they can help me edit something. And or we have an awesome project we are just about finished with. We have put together a book. It's called Dear Migraine. It's a book of writing pieces, lyrics, haikus, and artwork. And it is going to be a published book that are going to be at our walks and runs. It is just, I mean, wait till you see this. I can't even believe our migraine community and what they have written and come up with. The artwork in it is fantastic. So that is something the editing team has been working on probably for 9 months to a year, and it's amazing. We have our social events team, and as I said, that is one of the things that we do with the Dizzy Kit. Dizzy Cook, Alicia Wolf, puts together great events. We have our communications team. Our communications team is a group of people that what they do with me is they reach out to are people who have attended our races in the past and haven't yet signed up for the event, our Run Walk event yet this year. They will put a call out to those people that haven't yet signed up and just remind them, hey, our Milwaukee event is coming up. We just noticed you haven't signed up yet and just want to make sure you're aware it's coming up. So they reach out to those people. Our social media and publicity team kind of work together. What they do is make sure things are out on our social media for what's coming up, what's new, and our publicity team is out in the community hanging posters and things like that. And I love all my volunteers. Miles for Migraine could not exist without my awesome volunteers. And I thank them all, hopefully, as much as I can. And that is what Miles for Migraine is about. So I thank you so much for joining us today. This is the Mind Plus team last year at our event. You can see they're standing in front of their banner. We really enjoy working with them. The Milwaukee event is Saturday, August 12th, 8 a.m. Be there. It starts, or we start talking around 8:30, 8:40, but we would love for you to join us. And there's someone with the purple tutu on right there. Purple necklaces. I mean, you name it. Everybody brings stuff. So does Tracy have anything for me? Anything you'd like me to share? Anything else?
No, I think you did such a fabulous job. Thank you for explaining everything about what Miles for Migraine is and is about and what aspires to be. And we really appreciate that you're here for the second year and hopefully for a long time to come into the future in Milwaukee. We really appreciate you.
I appreciate you, and I will be in Milwaukee, so I can't wait to meet you, Tracy.
In real life, yes.
In real life, yeah, not in little squares. So thank you so much for giving me this time to talk about Miles for Migraine.